one of the big things that kind of ties into this too is putting yourself out there. Because we have this big expectation of what it does look like, and what it could look like. And sometimes it's like all we see is the negative and we never see anything positive, but really there's just a lot of anxiety around it. So how do you get past that anxiety?
I love, you're like, what's the magic bullet?
Right.
So when you create anything, any sort of creative work, and you put it out into the world, a very similar thing is going to happen is when you get into it, like a romantic relationship with someone. You have this idea of how it's supposed to go, and you have this idea that it's going to fulfill you in this very specific way. And usually, unconsciously, we are feeling that whatever we didn't get in childhood, however our mom didn't love us or our dad didn't pay attention to us, whatever lack or void we felt there, we were not loved in the way we thought we should be loved. By finding that romantic partner or putting this creative work out into the world, that's going to be fixed. Like this partner or this book or whatever it is you put out there, that's going to fix that issue for you. It's going to give you those feelings you never got back then. You're going to feel loved. You're going to feel paid attention to. You're going to feel approved of. You're going to feel validated. Self-esteem's going to go up. None of that stuff happens. Absolutely none of that stuff happens. Instead, what happens if you've picked the right partner for a growth experience, and creative work is always a growth experience, these experiences, they're going to challenge you. They're going to trigger all your shit. All your stuff's going to come up. If you always had low self-esteem and you felt like your mom never loved you, that's going to really come up once you hit publish on Amazon. You know, if you feel like your dad, you know, would only have loved you if you had been a better student and you'd done everything perfect, that's going to come up when you hit publish on that blog post. And then you're going to have to work through those things. Some people don't work through those things. They just get on the hamster wheel of like, oh, that's funny. I published something and I still feel like crap. It wasn't good enough. Let me make another one. Let me make it more perfect. But it's just going to keep cycling through and happening until you sit and unpack, what am I asking this book to do for me? What am I asking this blog to do for me? You know, I'm asking it to deliver all of these feelings I never got before. Once you can let go of that and you're like, you know what? It doesn't need to deliver anything. It doesn't need to gain me anyone's approval. It's just out there. And it feels weird that it's out there. I feel anxious about it. I feel exposed. I feel really vulnerable. I kind of feel depressed. I kind of hate that I feel all of these things. The feelings will start moving through. And then I don't want to say you'll get over it, but it'll get better. And then every time you put something out, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's happening again. Like I'm getting really anxious and I'm checking social media a bunch to see how many likes I got on it. I hate that I do that. You know, I've been doing this for years and years and years now, and I still get weird on publish day. You know, I don't get weird about blog posts anymore. But I definitely get weird when I publish books. Like that whole day, I feel just nauseous and icky and weird. You know, it's just part of the cycle.
Yeah. I hired a business coach last summer because I wasn't making any money and I didn't know why and I couldn't figure it out. And she basically promised me that she had the answer. Like she could show me how to make money. And I'm like, cool, great, let's do that. So we start coaching, and like the first thing she wants to talk about is my family and emotions and the past. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about money. And she's like, well, this is the problem. And I really feel like there's a big problem here because, you know, it shows up in so many different places. And I'm like, I was not on a journey to learn about psychology and repressed childhood trauma. I was on, you know, I was trying to run a business, and it's helped me honestly to learn so much about myself and my past, and even more about my personality than I ever thought that I wanted to know. It's crazy how much all of it is connected, and it's one of those things too, right, where we're always looking for connections and looking for, you know, the why behind what we're doing and you know how it fits in with the future. And it's almost one of those things that's like too big for me to even wrap my head around. But then at the same time, it's like I had a lot of questions for a long time. And then I finally found the answers, and all of the dots are connecting. And it's, one of those big aha moments. And I'm like, wow, I wish that I would have understood this when I was 20 years old rather than 35.
Mhm. Well, the thing is, in our culture, we're taught from day one that our purpose here on earth is to achieve, accomplish, and be a success. And if you really go into that programming, and I was on that programming for many years, you will go insane because you will never reach the end. You will never get to the point where you feel like you've accomplished, achieved, and are a success. It's a complete illusion. The true purpose of why we are here is to grow and learn. And if you shift into that reality of like, oh, I'm here to grow and learn, you're always sane because you're always doing it. You're like, well, I'm definitely doing that. Like, I might be a total mess and just crying all over myself and shoving cookies in my face, but I'm growing and learning. God damn it. I'm doing okay.
Right.
It's a totally different vibe, a totally different energy to be in.